My name's Ketrah, and I built a theatre in Kyiv called GreyCat Studio. And this is the story of what happened to GreyCat Studio and what happens now after Kyiv and GreyCat Studio. Well, there's two things. Firstly, I lived in Canada for 15 years and I never went into the studio or music business in Canada. I didn't think I was good enough. I was overcritical about what I can achieve as a musician. I know the competition it's a hard business, and I know the competition is incredible at the top levels. And the other reason why I didn't do it until I got to Kyiv is part of the journey of just losing myself. The confluence of events got me to a place where I had faced my mortality. And that came about because my brother lost his daughter, and after years of killing myself working, I nearly had a heart attack. And I realized that I would kill myself or I would die before I ever finished the songs, and I realized that was a stupid thing to do. During COVID, I think it was early 2020, I left Canada. My intention was to do a bit of traveling around Europe, but on my travels in Europe, one of my stops was Kyiv. I stopped in Kyiv, and the day I flew into Kyiv, the borders were closed. They closed the borders from COVID, so that left me stranded in Kyiv, which led me to this discovery. You know, if it had never been on the list of countries I ever thought I would go and see. But I ended up in Kyiv and was astonished at the cultural richness of the musicians in Kyiv. I spent a lot of time meeting a lot of street musicians in Kyiv, and I finally met one particular street musician who introduced me to the groups of singers, songwriters, musicians that were performing in Kyiv. And I started going to these at first informal jam sessions. They call them kvartnik. And eventually I realized I was going to stay in Kyiv for a while. So I got myself a piano. I rented a piano, a real piano. And the piano I rented it in an apartment. And unfortunately in Kyiv, insulation is not a very big thing between apartments. And eventually my neighbors told me I was too noisy and I couldn't play the piano. So I realized my longevity at my apartment was going to be a problem, and I was going to have to find a new place. Ended up being where the real story of GreyCat Studio started. My family had an old keyboard, and I started discovering the keyboard when I was very young. And I started realizing just something about music was my soul. And when I was 10 years old, I wrote my first university music exam. I wrote my first song when I was 8 years old. I'd been writing songs ever since, but it was even more than that. It was always my dream to build this or have this place where I could just be this at peace and at one with my music. And the place was chosen, my partner and I chose it because it was close to Shevchenko metro station, and it meant that anybody could walk there if they didn't have money. But also we chose the location because it was the venue of the famous nightclub Closer, and people from all over Europe came to Closer. And in fact, when I told the landlord that I was going to live on site, they were horrified that a woman would live in basically what was the heart of the drug-taking nightclub area of Kyiv. My friends call it the ass of Podil. And when I walked into the venue, I knew straight away it was the right one. It had been an old theatre.
If you lay down beside me in my dusty
eventually ended up with who was initially a partner in my studio, somebody that was part of the journey, and I built the studio in Kyiv. Building it in December of 2020, and in March of 2021, 8th of March, we had our opening event, and it was a really great event. Everybody that helped with that opening event did an amazing job. And there were a lot of people who were part of that. There was the people who helped put the studio together. There were the people that helped build it. There were the people that helped put the whole idea together. There were the people that came and did their performances. And it was a magical event.
Да во мне столько свободы, что я калибрую стрелки часам.